Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is my review of On the Basis of Sex. 2018 seems to be the year of the notorious RBG. Yes, Ruth Bader Ginsburg gets her own documentary, and then later in the year, she gets her own Hollywood production. So that begs the question, was this Hollywoodized feature film really needed after a really great documentary that we received earlier in the year? Not to mention the fact that we're currently living with Ruth Bader Ginsburg sitting on the Supreme Court. Overall, my answer to that question is yes, this film was still needed. Although not a complete slam dunk, I think it's still a perfectly enjoyable, solid movie about a great historic figure. So let's go ahead and talk about the positives first. The biggest positive is the story itself. This follows a very interesting case, and of course, a pivotal case in turning the law when it comes to gender and sex discrimination. A case in which a man was discriminated against on the basis of sex. And it makes for a riveting story. It makes for a very interesting case to watch. All of the groundwork there is the kind of typical inspirational courtroom drama about an inspirational figure. But, as typical as it might seem, it's there for a reason. This formula has been in place for a reason because it is effective. It does inspire you. It does put that smile on your face. And I think this film ends up doing that. And of course, our subject matter is a positive in and of herself. Ruth Bader Ginsburg is such an inspirational, interesting person, an interesting figure who did so much. And this film definitely does her justice as a person and as a lawmaker, as a lawyer, and really as a warrior for women's rights to get it to where we are today. As for the performances, I think most all of them are very solid. Armie Hammer plays her husband very well. And the film very accurately portrays who her husband was and their relationship as we know it from the documentary earlier this year. I think they captured the essence of that relationship very well. Felicity Jones is solid, but I'm going to get to her actually in the negatives. I don't think she gives a bad performance. I think she actually gives a pretty solid performance in a character overall, but I do have a little bit of a problem. And I love the ending of this film. It's a great homage that I think works spectacularly well. And I do have to say, I appreciated that we focused in on a single case. There was some groundwork laid about who she was, where she came from, what she had to fight through in law to begin with, and then we really focused in on a key mark case of her career. So what doesn't work so well when it comes to On the Basis of Sex? Well, I talked about her already, so let's go ahead and get Felicity Jones on the table here. As I said, as an actress, as a character in a film, I actually think she gives a very solid performance. Someone who I thought she connected to the audience well. I thought she was charismatic on the screen. She created a character. However, I don't know if this is going to sound PC or not, but I initially take a little bit of an issue with a British actress being selected to play an American feminist icon, somebody currently serving on the U.S. Supreme Court. We have plenty of great actresses that were born here in the United States who would have done a fantastic job, I think. And I know that may sound like a little bit icky on the outside, but I think that is kind of a case to be had across the board, is let cultures play their icons. Put different cultures' icons on the big screen and let that culture tell the story. It would have been wonderful to get a Jewish American actress to play this role. And I do think it's a bit of a missed opportunity, honestly. I think there are people who could have portrayed Ruth just as well as Felicity did. The other thing is, I don't think her accent fit the diction of the role all that well either. So that was just an extra added distraction away from just reveling in this wonderful woman's work. As nice as she was in the role, I think she was miscast. I also think that this is very paint by the numbers. I've already talked about it here in this review, but it goes very much by the numbers. We have seen this sort of court drama many times before. We've seen this inspirational story many times before. I don't think that's a complete negative, because we need to have more women who made a difference in history have their stories be told, much like we did with Hidden Figures last year. But that doesn't detract from the fact that it is very paint by the numbers. And while I do appreciate that we really focused in the story, we still did a lot before we got there, and then we just jumped ahead. We skipped this whole chunk of her life. And while I liked the very end of this film, I found it a little bit odd where we cut off the narrative the story was telling before we went into the homage, if you will, at the end, the coda. I will say that I also found the direction and lighting, the technical aspects of filmmaking, to be a little bit flat and bland. Nothing wowed me. There weren't big chances taken. Every now and then there would be a nice shot. As on the nose as some of it might have been, I thought, okay, that's a nice little shot there. However, everything just kind of felt by the book, just like the film itself. So overall, I think this is a solid film. I would actually liken it to something like Bohemian Rhapsody from earlier this year. The subject matter at the core of the movie is so inspirational, so interesting, and such a wonderful character to study that it's near impossible to leave the theater with anything other than a smile on your face. This story is an inspiration. It's something that does need to be told. These are the stories we do need to be learning of because they've been hidden for so long. However, I do wish someone as revolutionary, as intelligent, as forward-thinking, and forward-pushing as RBG herself is, I wish that she would have received a story that more accurately reflected her, that was more daring, that was more pushing, that wasn't so paint by the numbers. So in saying all of that, I think this is definitely worth a matinee ticket price. It is a crowd pleaser. It is very entertaining. We have the quips, we have the cheer-worthy moments, and you get to learn more about Ruth Bader Ginsburg if you don't know much about her at all. However, I would highly suggest, in addition to watching this, everybody check out the documentary RBG. It's just as, if not more, inspirational than this film. It's just as entertaining, and it tells the story straight, no chaser. We don't have all that Hollywood drama built into the story to give it more of a narrative push, but we don't lose the entertainment value. So again, this one is worth a matinee ticket price, but everyone, go watch the documentary. So that is my review of On the Basis of Sex. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below, and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on our latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see On the Basis of Sex? And what is your favorite historical law film? Let me know either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your support. Mwah! Thank you for watching. And I'll see you next time. Bye!